Hi guys, long time no see. I hope you're doing well, and welcome back. So back in the day when I was doing an overview of the Idaho 4 and Brian Kohberger case, I promised you that unless more information comes out, I'm gonna let it be and move on to other things, which I did. There's always a lot of randomness on this channel. But now we have some more information here regarding the Moscow, Idaho quadruple unaliving case. So we're going to talk about this today. As you may or may not know, my intention from the beginning with this case was to create a more or less chronological, but definitely an organized series of videos where you have the facts without the extra fluff and theories. That has its place. I made a theory too, but the main videos are more fact of the matter, organized information about the Idaho 4 case. And this video will be in addition to that. And as I said, I'm here because we have more information. There was a hearing, a motion hearing on the 23rd and then another one on the 25th, but I want to focus on the one from January 23rd. So I listened through about 3 hours of that, made some notes, and here is the summary and the most important information that we learned, some puzzle pieces that we can add to this big, confusing puzzle. If there's other important things that you would like to point out, do let me know in the comments down below. But finally, let's get into this. The first bigger piece of information that we received is to do with one of the witnesses to the Idaho 4 case, witness DM. DM was interviewed on December 13th, 2022, where she repeated multiple times what she saw and heard at 1122 King Road. So what is ultimately written in the PCA lacks details that she did provide in prior interviews.
This person was interviewed shortly after 911 was called in the afternoon of November 13th, 2022, when this witness was sure that she heard this particular victim go up the stairs, and then come running back down the stairs. That is repeated during this same interview a couple of different times. The officers, when they wrote this, knew that wasn't the case. They knew this particular person that DM said was upright and running down the stairs, that's not what happened. That person was in the bed and never left the bed.
Apparently, that particular person, that victim that DM said was running up and down the stairs, could not have done that. The big question is, how does Ann Taylor know that that victim could not have done that? In my opinion, there are two likely explanations. My guess is that the police either knew the approximate time when the victims were unalived, and that time does not align with the time when DM said that this running up and down took place, or, and I find this more likely, Ann Taylor stated that DM said that the victim was running down and up and down again.
She heard this particular victim go up the stairs, and then come running back down the stairs.
If DM said that this victim was either Kaylee or Maddie, then even we can tell that this doesn't add up, because Kaylee and Maddie were found on the 3rd floor. So if they went down and up and down again, they would not have ended up on the 3rd floor where they did. If their last movement was downstairs, they would have been either on the 2nd floor or on the 1st floor potentially, but definitely not on the 3rd one. Ann Taylor also stated that DM herself, the witness herself, has stated that she had memory problems, that she was unable to remember what was true and what was potentially a dream, that she had had a lot to drink, and it was hard for her to remember what exactly was reality and what was just in her head.
This witness has claimed memory problems, that this witness has claimed that she's not sure what she heard or saw was real, or whether it was at a dream, and that is contained in, there's further statements from that witness in that police interview that said that she had had too much to drink and couldn't remember. That person had credibility issues, and she said things that were just absolutely untrue and couldn't have been true.
So we have an unreliable witness, which it is what it is, but I definitely agree. This should have been mentioned somewhere, in the PCA preferably, long before this point in time, because it does shed a different light on the situation. Next topic are some more details about the suspect vehicle. So from the camera near 1122 King Road, you cannot identify the vehicle, you cannot tell what car it is, and you also cannot identify the license plate. The suspect vehicle is pieced together from multiple different angles, multiple different cameras, multiple different videos, and they are assuming that this was all one and the same car.
Next part of the affidavit talks about what they have determined to be suspect vehicle number 1, and it trails a path of pieced together cameras. The camera near the residence, the 1112 King Road camera near 1122 King Road, you can't tell what kind of car it is. That car appears one time on one video and not any of the others that they try to say are the path. It's not, let me see if I can say this right. It's not following a consistent trail where the one camera that can identify the car where it appears again.
Now, as much of a mess as that is, it would kind of explain the problem with the year of the car, because at first they said it was a 2011 to 13 Elantra, then they said it was a 2011 to 16 Elantra potentially. They were very uncertain. I talked about the year of the car and something that really bothered me in one of my previous videos, so just for context, I'll insert a video clip here. Police put out a search for a 2011 to 13 Hyundai Elantra on November 7th, 2022. And this video with Chief Fry came out one day later on December 8th, 2022.
And we're looking for a 2011 to a 2013 Hyundai Elantra.
But according to the PCA, they already had Brian Kohberger's vehicle, a 2015 Hyundai Elantra, on their radar as early as November 29th. If you were looking for 2011 to 16 Hyundai Elantras on November 29th, then you must have been looking for 2011 to 16 Hyundai Elantras on December 7th and 8th too, right? The explanation is they didn't have Brian Kohberger's car on their radar under the microscope on November 29th yet. They hadn't yet zoned in on that particular car at that point, even though the PCA makes it sound like they may have done that. Yes, on November 29th, the EWSU officers looked at different Elantras, and among them was also, on the list was also Kohberger's Elantra, but it wasn't of interest to them yet, because at that time they were still looking at 2011 to 13 models.
After the BOLO went out for 2011 to 13 Elantra, then WSU, Washington State University officers find cars. They find one that's registered to Brian Kohberger, parked at the apartments he lived in, but it was a 2015 Elantra, and so they don't really do much with it. But this is placed, that is placed in the affidavit like it was an investigative fact, and it wasn't. It was on the 20th of December when the detective, the lead detective, got a hold of WSU police and found out about that and said, oh, hey, you called this in.
There's also a small bit about the cell tower records, about the location of Brian Kohberger's phone, so I'll include that here. These records apparently do not put Brian Kohberger at or around 1122 King Road residence.
The paragraph that talks about Mr. Kohberger's phone using a tower that provides service to 1122 King on a number of occasions, the PC affidavit says 12. But based on those records, they absolutely knew that Mr. Kohberger wasn't around that residence, wasn't parked near the residence, didn't stop and have his phone in a stationary position at that residence. He did go to Moscow. He did drive around, but he wasn't over there. And the phone records absolutely show that.
Then there's also a bit about Kaylee Goncalves' dog, Murphy. There isn't a whole lot to talk about here, but I also didn't want to leave it out, so I just quickly want to comment on it. So Murphy, the dog, was found inside 1122 King Road the next day. He was found in a bedroom with an open door, and this is in the PCA, but what is not is that the doors, plural, to the other bedrooms, plural, where the victims were open as well. But Murphy had no, I have to say this correctly, otherwise YouTube will censor me. Murphy had no red liquids on him, or he didn't spread anything around, so the assumption is he didn't go into the bedrooms where the victims were.
Dog was found the next day inside the house in a bedroom with an open door, where the other bedrooms that contained people that died, their bedroom doors were open, and this dog had not tracked any blood around the dog, had no blood on it whatsoever, but it was just sitting in an open room a day later.
Let's remember there were 8 hours between, or that's what they're assuming, 8 hours between the time when the crime took place and before the first responders arrived. A lot can happen in those 8 hours. Doors can get closed and opened. I mean, for all we know, the room where Murphy was, that door could have been closed for 7 hours and 55 minutes and only opened those last 5 minutes before law enforcement arrived. So we don't actually know much about that, but it is interesting that there was nothing on him. He didn't attempt to enter the room where the victims were, one of which was his owner. And then we get to a juicy part in that motion hearing where Ann Taylor and the Judge Hippler, have a little bit of a back and forth. So she's trying to make the case that when they searched Brian Kohberger's car, and she stresses multiple times, they searched the car and they found no DNA, no red liquids in the car or in his apartment. She's trying to make a point that, well, there is no connection between him and the victims. But the judge says, well, if his DNA is on the knife sheath, isn't that probable cause? Doesn't that put him at the crime scene? And I agree, that is a very good question, and one that we need an answer to. But let's also remember that it is touch DNA on the button of a knife sheath, which we don't actually even know for sure if it belongs to a weapon. And the lack of connection to the victims, or the lack of other evidence, also raises eyebrows, doesn't it?
Mr. Kohberger gets arrested, his apartment gets searched, his car gets searched, his car gets searched again, and his car gets searched again, and there's absolutely no connection between him and anybody from 1122 King.
DNA match between the DNA in the sheath and Mr. Kohberger. Isn't that probable cause every day and twice on Sunday? Probable cause is not a proof beyond a reasonable doubt standard. It's probable cause to think that this person might have done it. And I'm not sure how that direct DNA connection to a sheath found on or near one of the victims doesn't close the book on anything on probable cause after that. I understand the lack of evidence of DNA material or other victim-related material in the car, in his apartment, as asserted, but I'm not sure how that precludes probable cause when there's a direct DNA match. There's plenty of reasons that might be the case.
Why Brian Kohberger's DNA is there should not be left unanswered, but there are also other questions that we need answers to. For example,
if the magistrate judge had been told there's unknown male B in blood in the house attached to the handrail, that might have made more of a difference to her. That's exactly the point, Your Honor. What other explanation is there? The magistrate wasn't given a chance to ask that. She wasn't given a chance to ask that when she wasn't told about unknown male B blood on the handrail. She wasn't given a chance to ask about that when she wasn't told about unknown male D blood on a glove right outside the residence.
So there was unknown male DNA, unknown male red fluid. Sorry, I have to say it like that, otherwise YouTube will have problems with me. It was inside the house, but there was also one outside the house on a glove that was recovered. And these are two different male DNAs. Red liquid DNAs, not touch DNA. Why are they unknown? Your guess is as good as mine. But what I also want to know is, Ann Taylor said there's unknown male B and unknown male D. So where are A and C, right? Are they also unknown, or is one of them Brian? I mean, there have to be at least 4, right? A, B, C, D. I will leave you with this, and let me know in the comments down below what you think. Did you watch this motion hearing? Are you following the case? Let me know all your thoughts down below. All opinions are welcome and theories, so long as they are expressed respectfully. I just hope that, for the sake of victims and their families, we do ultimately, the court, ultimately gets to the truth. So that is it for this video. I hope you liked it. I will be seeing you soon in another probably very random video, as is customary on this channel. Thank you for watching, have a good day, and I'll see you soon.